Hello everyone, Brian from Bearable Traders here. It's Sunday, June the 20th, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And of course, hope you all had a good day and a good weekend. So this is the Sunday night show. We take a look at the week that we just got through here with Fed speak and minutes. Quite the week. Most of the indexes did sell off. We had the big spike in the US dollar, drop in the yields as a reaction to after that meeting. And most of the indexes off, as I said, on the week, but the Qs did manage to eke out a bit of a gain here. So probably due to the interest rates dropping there. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at the week that was and try to figure out where we might be going from here and some stocks that we're going to be watching this week. Okay, before we kick things off here, this is where I like to throw up my book and do a bit of advertising for my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade, if you have not checked it out yet. So let's get down to analyzing where we've been last week and where we might be going. Start out as always with the Treasury bond price, and you can see here we had a big spike up Thursday and Friday. Mostly this move due to comments and minutes from the Fed meeting on that were released on Wednesday. So we had a nice little pop up there. You can see that means yields were dropping, and you can see that's reflected on this chart here. You can see how the yields have lost this sort of 1.6 level and dropped down. I'm not expecting this to continue lower, honestly. I'm really kind of expecting it to flatten out maybe and then turn back up again. Just given the fact that, the Fed did acknowledge inflation is real and happening in the marketplace, and some are questioning whether some of it is transitory. Certainly, you could probably argue some of it is. Supply change constraints in the short term, but there's some stuff here that might be going on that may be making it a little more sticky for some of it, and especially with all the money printing and injection of funds into the market, they're just continuing to stoke the fire. So the transports here, you can see we really started to break down here, and as I always have been mentioning, the transports tend to lead the Dow, and you can see here it was giving some higher lows there, and or I should say lower highs, lower high, and then the break of this 15,328-ish level, really just giving a indication that the Dow is probably going to follow here. So you can see the weekly, we're right down to the 20 moving average, and you can see here back in this area, back in January, we did touch this level and then found some support. So I'm expecting we might find some support again here. And you can see here the Dow pretty much followed the transports down. And you can see on Friday we did so on volume, and we have lost a bunch of moving averages here on the daily chart. On the weekly, we're right back to this 20-day or 20-week moving average. Again, maybe looking for a bit of a bounce here next week. The Qs inside day on Friday, again, with the interest rates dropping, I think it probably supported the Qs. That's where the growth stocks are, and you can see here we did break out to a new high, well off the high of the week though, but still managed to eke out a 0.4% gain and did so on volume. So it looks like unless we start getting a real surge back in interest rates, I would be watching for the Qs to continue to move higher. The SPY, again, another kind of ugly rollover day. You can see here volume was building on this sell-off, and as money rotated maybe back into the Qs. On a week, we did try to break out to a new high here, failed, and now we're pulling back on volume on the week. So again, probably some churning price action for the SPYs and the Dow. IWM, really pretty ugly chart here on the daily. Lots of volume on those last 2 days. You can see a bit of a double top here. And again, tried to break out, failed breakout, we're back to the 20 moving average, which is flattening out here, so it's not looking as promising, I would say. Indicators, RSI, stochastics look like they're rolling over here, so watch for some weakness in the IWM. And again, you can see here reaction to the Fed's minutes and meeting on Wednesday. Big spike up, big spike, follow up Thursday, Friday. Super extended on this pop. So I would expect we're going to get a bit of a pullback next week on the dollar index, which should maybe revive some of the commodity sector, which really took a beating this week. And the VIX popped up pretty significantly on Friday, given the sell-off in most of the markets except for the Qs, as we've already mentioned. But you can see here we really did put in a nice, this was a bottom here, so bottoming action, false breakdown, and then higher. And everything's looking pretty strong, so I'd almost be watching for the VIX to continue up here. And Bitcoin, Bitcoin's really been trading in a pretty narrow range here. You can see here it did try to break out back on the 15th, 16th, and really failed and rolled back over. So we're back down into a area of pretty significant support. Be watching this sort of 33,500 level. If it can't, if it breaks through there, there's a whole lot more downside on Bitcoin. Again, we've got this moving average here at 30,500. Might be some support as well. So let's take a quick look at what I've got. Some actives here. I've got a small position in ICLN, this clean energy ETF. I'm just watching it here. It did have a nice pop up. I sold some. I'm still in the green on this trade, just barely, and it's got a small size, but I'm just hanging on to some of it, see if we can get a breakout here. As I mentioned in my video, on Wednesday, I really lightened up on a lot of my trades. One I took a short on that I was watching was Playboy Group. I was watching this 40 level. And as soon as we started breaking down through that, I took a short on that one. So I'm short Playboy. I did cover a little bit down around that 35, 36 level, 35.80 I believe it was, and got a little bit of a bounce on Friday based on this prior level of support is where I kind of figured we'd get a bit of a bounce here, but I'm continuing to hold some short. Willow, not really great price action on that. I do have some shares long. I am long Airbnb. I should have been more prepared on this one. I did add some Airbnb. I did sell some calls down, or sell some puts down here. 130, they expired, worthless. Took the money on that one. I really should have gone long on as well, because I really like the price action on it. I believe it's a really nice looking chart. It looks like it's going to go higher here. RSI just continuing to make higher lows here, and stochastics a little overbought. MACD's going the right direction, so I still like Airbnb, and I will save that in my actives list. So let's take a quick look at some stuff I'm watching for next week. Here's this BTX, still keeping an eye on this one. This is a fairly low float. You can see it's kind of holding this this $15 level, so I'm just watching for it to see if it starts to break out again. Got an alert set. DBC, if the dollar starts to pull back again, I am going to be watching this one on Monday morning. Possible breakout here higher. So we did have a pretty decent day on Friday, inside day. So looking for some kind of follow through, especially if the dollar weakens up a bit here. Etsy, watching this one just to see, again, I'm looking for a breakout of 180. Sort of the high on this candle was 177, let's call it. So I've got an alert set on that one. So if we can break out above that, could be a retest of 200 again. F-SLY, liking this one. Again, I'm not long yet on it, but you can see here it's making a basically an ascending triangle. So there's your top right along there. Here's your series of higher lows. Every pullback is a little bit higher. So I'm looking for a breakout maybe early next week through 58. And again, alert set on that one. Glad I bailed on my gold, silver. I usually make it a rule of not holding gold and silver through a Fed speak or a Fed minute release, because they seem to trade very poorly no matter what's said. But anyway, this really pulled back here. So I am watching for a bottom, maybe somewhere down around this 33.50 level for a reversal. Although if the dollar really starts to sell off, then this will recover early next week. Penn is looking really not healthy at all. He's had a huge sell-off from this 135 level. We're pretty much down almost half on this trade already. And it does look, here's the weekly chart, it does look like it's ready to break down some more here. This is pretty significant support here, one at 73. If we do lose, that's the low here is 73.20. If we do lose this 73 level and close below it, I think it's probably good for, as low as 50 might be unrealistic, but possibly 60 on a short on Penn Gaming. Plug, just keeping an eye on it. It just seems to be hanging in there like some of the other alt energy plays, clean energy plays. This does, the stochastics do look like they're going to start to curl up again here. Momentum, the RSI indicator, still not, if it turns up here, that might be a good sign. But certainly 27, this 27.30 level area of support on the moving average. Sava I'm really liking too. It's just been on a steady grind, and now we are putting in a bit of an ascending triangle as well here. You can see there's the top, and so a breakout above 80, and we could be good for a run at least back up to sort of 90 level, and then maybe a run to 100. Stochastics turning up. RSI is overbought, but still looking strong. SoFi, again, I'm looking for a breakout here. This again is putting in what looks like a series of higher lows. So a break and hold above 24. Got a alert set on that. Trip looks like it's trying to hold on to 40 here. Might look at selling some calls, or selling some puts, I should say. Let's get that wrong. Selling some puts just below here. If it continues to hold, I'll just collect the premium. And I'm watching the oils. X has just been horrible. I got in and then had to stop out of that one. Looking for a pullback to around 21.50. So I've got an alert set on that one. So let's wrap things up here. Let's take a look at where we are right now in the futures. You can see here we're kind of flat on the Nasdaq and the Russell, the IWM, SPY. We're down a little on the Dow, but for the most part, we're pretty flat right now. Of course, I always like to say things can change between now and the market open. You've seen oil's up a little bit, gold's up a little bit. What's the dollar doing? The dollar seems to be kind of flat right now, not really doing anything. Interest rates, again, dropping again here. So again, this could be a good sign for the Qs, NASDAQ index, for a further move to the upside. Well, maybe not so positive for the Dow and some of the other indexes if the interest rates are looking like this at the open. So that's about it right now. Again, we'll see what the open brings, but I think we're going to get maybe some more strength in the Qs, maybe a bit of back and forth action on some of the other indexes after a sell-off, and we'll be watching the dollar and those interest rates. to see what direction they go, because that'll dictate where some of the commodities and the indexes go, as we've already talked about. So again, hope everyone had a great weekend, and again, happy Father's Day. We'll see you all in the morning. Of course, we will be starting live on the YouTube 8 o'clock with Jared engineering the markets. Norman Carlos will take you through the pre-market show, looking at the movers and shakers in the morning. And then, of course, we'll be trading the market open at 9:30. So hopefully to see you all there at one of those events, maybe more. We'll talk to you all later. Good night, everybody.